Hi everyone, it's time for Top 10 Tuesday. I know I'm late with this, but what happened was I made a video and then I recorded it. I recorded it. And then I posted it, and then I went and watched James' video yesterday, and as it turns out, it was no animation. Oops. It's like, hey, a couple weeks ago he says, Scott, we're going to do top 10 Disney movies. I'm like, really? Any Disney movies? He's like, well, hand-drawn animation is okay, CG animation is okay, but no live action, okay? I'm like, can it be Pixar too? It's like, yeah, Pixar is okay. Just anything with animation. Now, somehow, between that time and 2 weeks later, I got confused and thought that live action was okay too. So I had to redo my list. I had to get rid of my video and redo it. You have links in the description below for James's video, DVD Collector 1974. Also, I've seen that the Joker 5150 put up a video. And there's also a link to Movie Collector 666, his channel, because they're the guys that are all sort of in charge of the Top 10 Tuesday, and I'm just sort of, tagging along. So, Disney, yes. Some good stuff here. And I have to apologize for the overabundance of Pixar here. Since there's no live action allowed on this list, I ended up going more with Pixar movies than with the hand-drawn stuff, just because, Pixar's, made some damn fine films over the years. My number 11, the honorable mention, is The Rescuers from 1977. And I had a chance to re-watch it a few years ago, and I don't love it or anything like that, but it deserves a mention here because it was the very first movie I ever saw in the theater. I was 4 years old when it came out, and I presumably saw it, then or maybe, a little bit later. But yes, first movie I ever went to see in the theater was The Rescuers, about the two mice, Bianca and Bernard, who's part of the Rescue Aid Society, and they are assigned to sit on the back of a bird and fly off to the swamps of New Orleans to rescue a little girl who's been kidnapped. Yes, don't love it, but yeah, it's significant for me. After The Rescuers, it was Star Wars and, Superman, and then on, and I've been, running nonstop ever since through the theaters watching stuff. My number 10 film, Monsters Incorporated from Pixar, with John Goodman and Billy Crystal, and Steve Buscemi, of course, Jennifer Tilly, James Coburn. Fun movie, really, really fun. My number 9, the original Toy Story with Tom Hanks and Tim Allen. All these movies that I'm mentioning here all made my top 10 of some year, whatever year it was. Number 8, Finding Nemo by Andrew Stanton, who's made some good stuff. And that's with Albert Brooks and Ellen DeGeneres, as I remember. My number 7, Ratatouille by Brad Bird, who's done some good stuff as well. My number 6, not a Pixar movie, Wreck-It Ralph, which just came out last year with John C. Reilly and Sarah Silverman. Really, really fun movie. My number 5, Wall-E, also by Andrew Stanton, who did Finding Nemo. And yeah, that's a terrific movie, just fantastic. A lot of non-verbal passages in that where there's no talking. Really exciting film. Beautiful, just beautiful film. Number 4, The Incredibles by Brad Bird. You have Craig T. Nelson and Holly Hunter as the super couple that have their superpowered kids, and then their nemesis, of course, is Jason Lee, and their ally is Samuel L. Jackson. Love this movie to death. One of the best movies that came out the last decade. One of the best movies that come out this decade so far, my number 3, Toy Story 3. Such an amazing movie, so emotional, so exciting. Yeah, can't be beat. And those are the Pixars right there. Now, my number 2 and number 1, as it happens, are actually hand-drawn. My number 2 is Alice in Wonderland from the 50s. And this is a movie that I've loved ever since I was a little kid, and just thought it was so crazy and fun and surreal. And I can appreciate it now as well. The Tea Party scene, love it. Always love that one. Love a lot of the songs in it. That's one thing that a lot of my favorites have in common. They're not musicals. But yeah. Alice in Wonderland, of course, is definitely musical, and a really good one at that. There's been plenty of classic Disney films that I've seen and not been crazy about, although I was pretty impressed with Snow White, because that was like the first feature-length animated film they did, and yet it was so much more exciting cinematically than any of the live-action movies of that period, because it's animation, and they can do all kinds of things with perspective and camera movement and stuff like that that they can't do, of course, with actual cameras. And they couldn't do it then anyway. But Alice in Wonderland, you know, just a big favorite of mine for a long time. And my number one favorite Disney movie from 1992 is Aladdin. Aladdin is just a fantastic movie. I actually, just a couple weeks ago, watched Hercules from '97, which was done by the same guys who did Aladdin, Musker and Clemens. And I really enjoyed that movie, but I can't really call it one of my favorites because I just saw it. But a lot of good voices in that. You've got James Woods as Hades, the villain, and you've got Rip Torn as Zeus, the god, who's Hercules' father, and you have Danny DeVito as the little Minotaur or whatever, that hoof guy who trains him. I like that movie. It's a lot of fun, and very similar to Aladdin, of course, but yeah, I can't really put it on this list. But Aladdin, of course, fantastic. Just love it. You know, really great year for movies, '92, and it would have been number one if it hadn't been for Unforgiven and Glengarry Glen Ross and Reservoir Dogs and all that stuff. Yeah, amazing. So be sure to check out the other guys' videos. Oh, I should mention while I'm here, I might as well mention, since I thought about this a little bit, a few good Disney live-action movies. Not officially part of this particular list, but I thought I'd mention them. You've got Flight of the Navigator from the '80s, which is a fun movie about a kid who joins up with a spaceship because he's got a map of the galaxy imprinted on his brain. You've got the Pirates of the Caribbean, first one with Johnny Depp, Gore Verbinski, Orlando Bloom, Keira Knightley, Jeffrey Rush, all those guys. Really, really fun movie. Also wanted to mention Night Crossing, which I've only seen one time and it made a big impression. It's about some people who want to escape a fascist country, and so they're trying to secretly build a hot air balloon to take them over the border into the neighboring country where they'll be safe. I don't remember a lot about it. I saw it a really long time ago when I was a kid, but it made a big impression. I also want to talk about a couple of movies that could have been Disney films, but weren't, just by a happenstance. There's Daryl, which is about a kid with a microchip implanted in his head, and so that makes him smarter and has better memory, is more coordinated, so he can always hit baseballs out of the park every time. Kind of similar to Flight of the Navigator, because he's, you know, captured by the government and studied, and then he tries to escape and what have you. Then there's Short Circuit, which is the Steve Guttenberg, Ali Sheedy comedy with the robot that comes to life, Johnny Five, number 5. Fun character, definitely appropriate for a Disney film. Cloak and Dagger is a movie with Henry Thomas from E.T. and Dabney Coleman, and he's got this imaginary spy best friend, Jack Flack, who's played by Dabney Coleman, the same actor who plays his dad, so there's some interesting things going there as far as role models. Also, The Goonies is a favorite of mine. You know, that's from the '80s. You all know about that one. And of course, the original Wizard of Oz. Not a Disney movie, MGM. Although they did do Oz the Great and Powerful. Yeah, there aren't too many more movies that are more Disney than the original Wizard of Oz. You know, great songs, great characters, love it. So that's my video, and I'll try and do the next one correctly. Thanks very much for watching. Bye.